Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 vaccine manufacturing and development in Ahmedabad, Hyderabad and Pune facilities. COVID-19 tests per million population cross 1 lakh mark in the country. Home Minister Amit Shah says government is ready to deliberate on every problem and demand of the farmers. In Jammu and Kashmir, first phase of District Development Council elections and Panchayat by-polls held peacefully, 51.7% voting recorded in DDC polls. Foreign direct investment surges to $30 billion in April to October this year. And in cricket, India to take on Australia in the second ODI at Sydney tomorrow. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi concluded his Tri-City tour of visiting facilities involved in the manufacture and development of the coronavirus vaccine. In his last stop of the single-day tour, the PM visited Serum Institute SII in Pune this evening. His visit to the Maharashtra-based institute was considered significant as the institute, which has partnered with global pharma giant AstraZeneca and Oxford University for a COVID-19 vaccine, is in the advanced trial of COVID vaccine development at the SII vaccine plant. The managing team and core scientist group briefed the PM about the overall phases research testing for a COVID vaccine. PM Modi also took detailed review of the status of the vaccine, including its launch, production and distribution mechanisms during the visit. More from our correspondent.
During the 50-minute visit, Prime Minister Modi inspected the vaccine production process, then had a discussion with the scientists and the officials of Serum Institute. After concluding the program, Prime Minister tweeted that he had a good interaction with the team at Serum Institute. He said that they shared details about the progress so far and how they plan to further ramp up vaccine manufacturing. After the visit, Prime Minister left for Delhi. Nitin Kelkar for AIR News, Pune.
Earlier, Mr. Modi visited the Zydus Cadila Pharmaceuticals vaccine development facility at Zydus Biotech Park in Ahmedabad this morning and held meetings with Zydus Cadila Pharmaceuticals scientists. The Prime Minister also got first-hand information on ZyCoV-D, a COVID-19 vaccine candidate. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
During the half-an-hour meeting, Prime Minister Modi has discussed the process of vaccine development, its trials, and distribution plan of the final product. Zydus Cadila Pharmaceuticals Vaccine Development Facility at Zydus Biotech Park is developing ZyCoV-D, a COVID-19 vaccine. ZyCoV-D, a potential vaccine, will enter in the 3rd phase of clinical trials in December, is a big step for the Atmanirbhar Bharat. The chairman of Zydus Cadila, Pankaj Patel, said that Prime Minister's visit inspires the scientists and staff of the company. Company's MD Sarvil Patel said that Prime Minister Modi has also discussed the treatment of COVID-19 along with the development process of vaccine. He said that Prime Minister has also offered the government's help in the fight against coronavirus pandemic. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
After his visit to the Zydus Biotech Park in Ahmedabad, in a tweet, Mr. Modi said that he complimented the team behind this effort for their work. He said the Government of India is actively working with them to support them in this journey. From Ahmedabad, the Prime Minister then flew to Hyderabad, where he was briefed about the indigenous COVID-19 vaccine at the Bharat Biotech facility in Hyderabad. After his brief visit, he congratulated the scientists' team for their progress in the trials so far. In a message, the PM said the Bharat Biotech team is closely working with ICMR to facilitate speedy progress. Our correspondent has this report.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the Bharat Biotech International Limited, which has undertaken development and manufacturing of COVID-19 vaccine called Covaxin in collaboration with the ICMR. The Prime Minister interacted with senior scientists and executives of the BBIL, including its founder and chairman, Dr. Krishna Ella, during his hour-long visit to the laboratory. The BBIL later in a statement said the Prime Minister's visit serves as a great inspiration to their team and further reinforces their commitment towards scientific discovery, solving public health issues and the nation's fight against COVID-19. Currently, the Phase 3 clinical trials of the Covaxin are underway by involving over 25,000 volunteers in 22 states across the country. Lakshmi, AIR News, Hyderabad.
It may be noted that the Phase 1 clinical trial of Zydus Cadilla's vaccine candidate ZyCoV-D is over and the pharma company has commenced Phase 2 clinical trials from August. Bharat Biotech's Covaxin is undergoing Phase 3 trials. Covishield vaccine is currently in the final stage of clinical human trials. The Serum Institute of India has partnered with UK's Oxford University and British-Swedish pharmaceutical giant AstraZeneca in the manufacture and distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine candidate Covishield in India. Meanwhile, Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan today said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is leading the efforts being made in the country like a supreme commander in the fight against COVID-19.
COVID-19 tests per million population crossed the 1 lakh mark today. India's tests per million population stands at 1,159,700. According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, over 11,57,000 tests were conducted during the past 24 hours. The total number of samples tested so far has gone up to over 13 crore and 82 lakh. Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 recovery rate has reached 93.68% as a total of 41,452 patients have recovered during the past 24 hours. According to the Health Ministry, the total number of recoveries has gone up to over 87 lakh and 59,000. The actual caseload currently comprises only 4.87% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is at 4,54,940. During the past 24 hours, 41,322 new cases were reported, taking the total number of positive cases to over 93 lakh and 51,000. The ministry said that effective implementation of the strategic and graded test, track and treat approach has led to higher recoveries and lower fatality. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.46%, which is one of the lowest globally. During the last 24 hours, 485 deaths were reported, taking the toll to 1,36,200. The Rajasthan government has today reduced the RT-PCR test rate of COVID-19 from 1,200 rupees to 800 rupees in private hospitals and laboratories in the state. The state government has issued a notification in this regard. Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has inaugurated the 70-bed COVID ICU at RUHS Hospital in Jaipur through video conferencing. He also dedicated COVID labs in 6 districts: Hanumangarh, Pratapgarh, Jaisalmer, Rajsamand, Tonk and Bundi. The Chief Minister said that health infrastructure has been strengthened throughout Rajasthan for maximum screening and proper treatment of corona-infected persons, and now RT-PCR screening facility is available at every district. He said that instead of hiding the disease, people should be treated on time. More from our correspondent.
The number of new cases of COVID-19 has fallen since last 2 days in the state. Today, 2,765 cases of co-infection have been reported, while 2,178 people have recovered. The total number of infections in the state has increased to 2,62,805. At the same time, the number of active cases reached above 28,000, with the death of 19 people due to COVID in the last 24 hours. The figure of the dead has increased to 2,274. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
Kerala continues to see a surge in COVID cases. Our correspondent reports that 6,250 new cases of COVID were confirmed today.
5,275 recoveries were also reported today in the state. Over 63,000 samples were tested in the last 24 hours. The test positivity rate is 9.77. Presently, the total active COVID cases in Kerala is 64,834. Meanwhile, 25 recent deaths were also confirmed due to COVID today, taking the death toll in the state to 2,196. Mayusha for AR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
The government of Karnataka has issued new guidelines effective from the 1st of December to contain the corona pandemic in the state. The guidelines pertain to promote appropriate behavior, enforce wearing of masks, hand hygiene and social distancing. More from our correspondent.
Due to effective implementation of containment measures through tracking, testing, isolating and creating awareness on COVID-19, there is a steady decline in active cases over the past months. The district administration is imposing a fine of 250 rupees for not wearing masks in Bengaluru and 100 rupees in other districts. The containment zones are sealed, allowing only essential activities. House-to-house surveillance is carried out in these zones. Standard operating procedures are announced for international travelers. Cinema halls, exhibition halls, cultural and religious centers are to allow only 50% of the hall capacity. Swimming pools are only open for sports persons. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
In view of a sharp rise in COVID-19 cases, the Himachal government has decided to enforce 5 days office and 6th day work from home for all the government employees of the state till the 31st of December. The state government has also restricted the number of persons in all social gatherings to 50. Chief Minister Jairam Thakur has said all political functions would be held virtually and restriction on numbers would be implemented in letter and spirit in such functions. He also directed the deputy commissioners to rope in private hospitals and laboratories for testing and treatment of COVID patients. On the other hand, the state government is also considering to impose curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the 4 districts, namely Shimla, Mandi, Kullu and Kangra. The recovery rate of COVID patients in Delhi stands at 91.89%. The city recorded recovery of 6,512 patients in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of recovered patients till date to 5,16,166. A total of 4,998 new confirmed cases of coronavirus were reported in the national capital during the last 24 hours. With this, the total number of COVID cases reported in the capital city so far has reached 5,61,742. The Delhi government confirmed that 89 deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours, taking the total to 8,998. The total number of active corona cases in the city now stands at 36,578.
Home Minister Amit Shah has said that the government is ready to hold talks with protesting farmers. Talking to media, Mr. Shah said the Agriculture Minister has invited them on the 3rd of December for discussions. He said the government is ready to deliberate on every problem and demand of the farmers.
जो किसान भाई अपना आंदोलन कर रहे हैं वो सभी को मैं अपील करना चाहता हूं कि भारत सरकार आपसे चर्चा करने के लिए तैयार ही। 3 दिसंबर को कृषि मंत्री जी ने आपको निमंत्रण पत्र भेजा है चर्चा के लिए और भारत सरकार आपकी हर समस्या और आपकी हर मांग पर विचार विमर्श करने के लिए तैयार है। किसान यूनियन के सभी नेताओं को मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि आप सारे किसान भाइयों को लेकर जो स्थान दिल्ली पुलिस ने तय किया है वहीं पर आ जाइए। पुलिस परमिशन के साथ शांतिपूर्वक तरीके से लोकतांत्रिक तरीके से आंदोलन चालू रखे और शीघ्र भारत सरकार आपसे बातचीत करने के लिए तैयार है। बातचीत को भी आगे बढ़ाइए।
Union Minister Piyush Goyal today said that Atmanirbhar Bharat is about opening India's doors wider so that India engages with the world from a position of strength on equal, fair and reciprocal terms. Delivering the keynote address at an event, he said that India should focus its energies on creating within the country, learning from experiences across the world, bringing best of technologies to India, attracting capital, skills and high-quality education and healthcare. He said technology will play an important role in achieving Atmanirbharta and the government will support startups and industry in expanding the technology ecosystem.
Vice President Venkaiah Naidu will chair the 19th meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO Council of Heads of Government to be hosted by India in virtual format on the 30th of this month. It will be the first time that a summit-level meeting will be held under India's chairmanship since it gained full membership of the organization in 2017. This summit is held annually at the level of Prime Ministers of SCO and deals primarily with the trade and economic agenda of the organization. The External Affairs Ministry said India considers the Shanghai Cooperation Organization as an important regional organization to promote cooperation in the areas of peace, security, trade, economy and culture. It said India is committed to widening cooperation with the SCO by playing a proactive, positive and constructive role in the organization. India assumed the chairmanship of the SCO Council of Heads of Government on the 2nd of November last year, as per rotation from the previous chair, Uzbekistan, and will complete its year-long tenure on the 30th of this month.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 vaccine manufacturing and development in Ahmedabad, Hyderabad and Pune facilities. COVID-19 tests per million population cross 1 lakh mark in the country. Home Minister Amit Shah says the government is ready to deliberate on every problem and demand of the farmers. In Jammu and Kashmir, first phase of District Development Council elections and Panchayat by-polls held peacefully. 51.7% voting recorded in DDC polls. Foreign direct investment surges to $30 billion in April to October this year. And in cricket, India to take on Australia in the second ODI at Sydney tomorrow. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alert.
To get accurate, reliable and wide coverage of news, tune into AIR News 24/7 and FM Gold and listen to the major bulletins at 8:30 a.m., 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. in English and 8 a.m., 2:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. in Hindi of half an hour each.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the evening news. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, amid the COVID-19 pandemic and bone-chilling cold in Kashmir Valley and some parts of Jammu Division, a large number of people participated in the first ever District Development Council DDC polls, and 51.7% voting was recorded for the Phase 1 peacefully without any untoward incident. The Panchayat by-elections were also held peacefully in the Union Territory. The DDC elections in the Union Territory are the first major polls that are being conducted across the valley since the abrogation of Article 370 and bifurcation of the erstwhile state of J&K into two Union Territories.
Today, 43 DDC constituencies went to polls, including 25 in Kashmir Valley and 18 in Jammu Division, where 7 lakh voters were registered. In Jammu Division, the voting percentage was 64.2% and in Kashmir Valley 40.65% voting was recorded. In Jammu Division, highest percentage of 74.6% of voting was recorded in Riyasi district, whereas in Kashmir Valley, highest voting of 72.58% was recorded in Shupian district. The 8-phase DDC election is being seen as a triangular contest. Meanwhile, in exercise of powers conferred under Section 36 of Jammu and Kashmir Panchayat Raj Act 1989, the State Election Commission has today imposed restrictions on conduct of exit polls till the last phase of the DDC election. This is N. Gulshan Rana for AIR News, Jammu.
Union Minister Prakash Zavadekar today said foreign direct investment into India surged by a healthy 15% to $30 billion in April to October this year. In a tweet, Mr. Zavadekar said Make in India for the World campaign launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi has picked up pace and is firmly on course to make India an industrial hub for the world. Ministry of Finance has said the Punjab government has communicated acceptance of option 1 to meet the revenue shortfall arising out of GST implementation. The number of states who have chosen this option has gone up to 26. All the three union territories, Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir and Puducherry, have also decided in favour of option 1. The Finance Ministry in a statement said the states and union territories who choose option 1 are getting the amount of shortfall arising out of GST implementation through a special borrowing window put in place by the Government of India.
In Uttar Pradesh, preparations for the upcoming visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to his parliamentary constituency Varanasi on Monday are in full swing. The Prime Minister will take part in Dev Deepavali program and address a public meeting there. Dev Deepavali is a function after Deepavali when a large number of lamps are lit on the banks of rivers and other places on the occasion of Kartik Purnima. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath visited Varanasi yesterday to review preparedness. More from our Lucknow correspondent.
Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath inspected the sites where program will be organized. He also gave instruction that the people in Varanasi should be constantly made aware through the public address system to comply with the prescribed protocol of COVID-19 during the program of Dev Deepavali. He said that Kashi, being the important center of religious, spiritual, educational and tourism activities, has a special importance at national and international level, and messages generated here goes across the globe. Chief Minister said that cleanliness is the priority of the Prime Minister Modi, so special cleanliness arrangements should be ensured for the entire Kashi. MS Yadav, Yaya News, Lucknow.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio at 11 a.m. tomorrow. It will be the 71st episode of the monthly radio program. It will be broadcast on the entire network of AIR and Doordarshan and also on the AIR News website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR mobile app. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of AIR, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. The regional language versions will be repeated at 8 in the evening.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edapadi Palanisamy and discussed the situation in the wake of Cyclone Nivar and heavy rainfall in parts of the state. Mr. Modi expressed condolence at the loss of lives and prayed for quick recovery of the injured. An ex-gratia of 2 lakh rupees each would be given to the next of kin of the deceased and 50,000 rupees each to the injured from the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund. In a statement last night, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister said the Prime Minister has assured all possible help to the state. The Tamil Nadu government has also announced compensation packages for the losses suffered due to the cyclone Nivar. Chief Minister Edapadi Palanisamy in a statement last night said that 4 people lost their lives due to the cyclone. He said their families will be given a solution of 10 lakh rupees each. 30,000 rupees each will be given as compensation for the cows that were killed, 25,000 rupees for buffaloes, 16,000 rupees for the calves and 3,000 rupees for the sheep. In addition, financial aid will be given for the huts in proportion to the damages for the crop loss. The Chief Minister has assured that the compensation will be given after the assessment of damages in the state electricity distribution network. 108 transformers and 2,927 poles were destroyed, and the staff are replacing them to restore power supply in the affected areas. A number of political leaders from Maharashtra, including Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, State Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar, among others, paid homage to social reformer Mahatma Jyotiba Phule on his 130th death anniversary today. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari said in a tweet that Mahatma Phule was a great social reformer who fought for the rights of women and the downtrodden. Paying rich tributes to Mahatma Phule, Ajit Pawar said he was a great revolutionary who empowered the masses to live with dignity by emphasizing the importance of education. He said Phule brought an ideological social revolution for taking society out of the bondage of ignorance, superstition, untouchability, caste and religious discrimination.
The Bangalore-based Indian Institute of Science researchers have developed an efficient, decentralized wastewater treatment and recycling system for rural areas. A study on decentralized wastewater treatment systems developed by the Premier Institute was published in the Journal of Water Process Engineering. The model is demonstrated in Berambari Primary School in a remote village in Karnataka. The assistant professor at the Center for Sustainable Technologies in the Indian Institute of Science, Lakshmi Narayan Rao, has informed that the water treatment system demonstrated by them is economical and enables reuse of wastewater, reducing dependency on freshwater resources. Ladakh Lieutenant Governor has inaugurated the curtain raiser event of the Indian International Science Festival IISF 2020 in Leh today. In a virtual event organized at Defence Institute of High Altitude Research, Mr. Mathur underlined the importance of taking science and technology to remote parts of the country while highlighting the requirements of adaptations of science and technology for sustainability in environmentally fragile places like Ladakh. The Indian International Science Festival, launched in 2015, is a celebration to promote science and technology and how science could lead India towards being a developed nation. The festival also aims at how science, technology, engineering and mathematics, STEM, provide solutions to improve lives. The Central Bureau of Investigation today raided around 40 premises across 4 states, including 25 in West Bengal, as part of an investigation into a coal mafia case. It is in West Bengal that Anup Majhi, the alleged kingpin of the illegal operation, is based, sources said. The home and offices of the suspect, who lives in Asansol, are being searched along with those of his associates. Official sources said that searches are spread across West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand and Uttar Pradesh. The agency has registered cases against officials including of Eastern Coalfields Limited, railways and private persons. In West Bengal, besides Asansol and other spots, searches are on in Durgapur, Raniganj in Burdwan district and Bishnupur in the 24 South Parganas district. Mr. Majhi, also known as Lala, allegedly runs an operation in open-cast coal mines across the Bengal-Jharkhand border.
Face-to-face negotiations between the United Kingdom, UK and the European Union, EU, over a trade deal have restarted in London in a last-ditch attempt to find agreement with just 5 weeks to go before their current relationship ends. EU negotiator Michel Barnier and the UK's chief negotiator David Frost are working to secure a deal before the UK's transition period with the EU ends on December 31st. It is the first time they have met face-to-face since Barnier went into self-isolation after a member of his team caught the novel coronavirus. In cricket, the second one-day international between India and Australia will take place at the Sydney Cricket Ground tomorrow. In the opening game of the 3-match series yesterday, Australia defeated India by 66 runs. The third and final ODI will be played on the 2nd of December in Sydney. Live commentary of the match is being broadcast on FM Rainbow, Rajdhani, PB, YouTube and other channels of All India Radio Delhi. Commentary can be heard alternately in Hindi and English from 8:30 a.m. till the end of the match.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. In Jammu, temperature will hover between 9 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees. The city will have a mainly clear sky in the morning, which may become partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Srinagar will also have mainly clear skies and may become partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Temperature will hover between -2 degrees Celsius and 12 degrees Celsius. In Leh, there will be mainly clear skies becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening, and the temperature will vary between -8 degrees Celsius and 3 degrees Celsius. Gilgit will have mainly clear sky with temperature varying between -1 degree Celsius to 16 degrees. Muzaffarabad will be mainly clear skies becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening, and the temperature will vary between 5 to 17 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 8 and 25 degrees. The sky will be mainly clear. Chandigarh will have mainly clear sky. The temperature in the city will hover between 9 and 24 degrees Celsius. In Hyderabad, temperature will vary between 16 degrees Celsius and 27 degrees Celsius. The city will have generally cloudy sky with possibility of light rain or drizzle. Ahmedabad will have clear skies. The temperature will vary between 16 degrees Celsius and 31 degrees.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 vaccine manufacturing and development in Ahmedabad, Hyderabad and Pune facilities. COVID-19 tests per million population cross 1 lakh mark in the country. Home Minister Amit Shah says government is ready to deliberate on every problem and demand of the farmers. In Jammu and Kashmir, first phase of District Development Council elections and Panchayat by-polls held peacefully, 51.7% voting recorded in DDC polls. Foreign direct investment surges to $30 billion in April to October this year. And in cricket, India to take on Australia in the second ODI at Sydney tomorrow. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.